Well, it's one of those voices you would identify blindfolded. He has sold 120 million albums worldwide. But Rod Stewart, for almost a year, faced the possibility that his voice would be silenced. The voice behind Maggie May, Tonight's the Night, and so many other fantastic hits. It was because of an operation he had to remove a tumor, a cancerous tumor from his thyroid, and he's talking about it on TV for the first time with us today. Rod Stewart really faced the possibility for a brief moment that he could lose his song forever. Tell me the story of what happened.
Well, I went for a regular CAT scan, which I've just started doing, and they found this small cancerous growth on the thyroid. And I had the operation. They literally, cut you wide right through the throat. And it just took a bit of time, before the voice came back. And as you can hear, it's not properly back yet, but it will. It just needs to be retrained because they cut through the muscles.
Is there
It's very pleasant.
Is there any moment like that on Earth for reordering your entire universe when they come in and say, we think we've seen something?
Especially with me, I've always thought I was so fit, and I play soccer and I work out every day. I mean, the big C was the furthest thing from my mind, but yeah, it was a terrible shock. I mean, I just went into total silence for a few days. Early detection. Men have got to get to the doctors and get things detected.
Because you had no symptoms of any kind that you would ever run across.
Yeah.
And did they want you to do lots of additional treatment?
No, that was it. I went into hospital a week, because this is a particularly slow-growing cancer, really slow, and it's mostly found in women, funnily enough, so I was just a bit unlucky. But no, I was in the morning and out the next day. And I was told, you're okay, your voice will come back in 6 months. So I thought, after 6 months I started singing and nothing happened. Then 8 months and 9 months. And it's only just recently started coming back.
Must have been terrifying to you.
It was, because I was looking for new employment.
What's
landscape gardener or antique dealer or something.
And would you try it every day, or did they tell you to lay off?
Well, they said literally leave it for 6 months and your voice will come back clean, but it's like any surgery. I mean, I've had operations on this right knee through soccer on the cartilage, and of course you have to go through rehabilitation. And I never did any of that. I just thought they'd come back magically. The muscles shrink and they lose their memory and they don't know what to do.
So now
they still don't know what to do.
So the therapy is about just exercising in that old sort of vocal coach way.
Well, I started with that and that wasn't working. What really works is just singing live, and getting into the postures that you get into when you sing, throwing your head back and going for the notes. In other words, rehearsing with the band. And that's what, is bringing it back.
And you can see the difference every few weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Hitting some notes that I couldn't hit 2 months ago.
Does it drive you crazy when you can't hit them?
Well, what would have been the outcome if I hadn't had a CAT scan, 3 or 4 years? 3 or 4 years ago, it would have been lethal. Absolutely lethal.
You said it did reorganize your whole world. How?
Yeah. Well, you tend to get everything in perspective, because being that close to having something that lethal and fatal, because I always thought, I'm going to live forever like you do. And all of a sudden you realize you can't. And it can strike anybody, any age, no matter who you are. It can cut you down. And
do you think about it all the time, or do whole times go by when you don't think about it anymore?
I suppose you do, of course you do. I just visited the City of Hope Foundation out in Pasadena, and to see small children dying of cancer with absolutely no hope, I think, God, I'm one of the lucky ones. He must have given me a second chance, and there's something I've got to do with the rest of my life. So I'm going to be working with the City of Hope Foundation.
Helping publicize their work there.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people, I guess, might say that it's hard when you've been through cancer yourself then to spend time around those who are struggling with it all the time, and that keeps taking you back. But not for you. It's a kind of rededication.
Yeah, it really, you just realize how lucky you are. It's just, what do you say to two parents in a room with their child? It's no bigger than that, and the chances of living at 80%. You know, you don't know what to say. It's hard.
I'm trying to imagine when some of them look up and see you walk in the room.
Well, the kids don't know I am, but the parents do.
Well,
but when you see those shaven heads and these little shriveled bodies, and you go, why? You know, sometimes I think the playing field is certainly not even. You know, it's just not.
and however hard it is now to keep training your voice back and training your voice back, when you hear yourself singing like Rod Stewart,
Yeah. It's very pleasing.
It is. It's
Well, especially it could have gone, you know, it's just kind of, so to hear the old voice coming back.
and you always loved the raspy, raw voice.
Yeah.
What
And
if
my talking voice, I've got to stress, I know people might be worried about my talking voice. It's not usually like this, and this will go away.
Yeah.
It's just having to sing so much in this last week.
Yeah. I suppose another danger would have been that you'd come back and you would have sounded like...
Frank Sinatra, even. Then I really could have made it.
And tomorrow it gets wild and woolly as we laugh aloud and talk about women and the rocker's life. And also on Friday, Rod Stewart is going to sing right here. And again, it's been 9 months. It's now 40 minutes past 7. We'll be back.